Hello all. So in this lecture we'll see about selection statement. We'll see about if and if else statements. So in certain cases, this computer might be faced with two alternative courses of action. So we may have to take some decision and proceed. We may have to test condition or examine or test a condition and take the course of action. So if the condition is true, we will execute the set of statements. And if it is false, we have to execute some other set of statements. So in this case, we have to use some selection statements. So in this lecture, we will see about if statement. So before going into this selection statement, we have to study about this Boolean data type. So there is a special data type in Python. We call it as Boolean data type. In this Boolean data type, it can take only two values. One is true and the second one is false. Whatever be the expression given, the result will be either true or false. So there are different comparison operators in Python. So these are the comparison operators that is used in Python. Double equal means equals operation. Explanation and equal, it means not equals operation. Less than symbol, it is less than. This is greater than. This is less than or equal, and this is greater than or equal to. So these are some of the comparison. These are the comparison operators that is used in Python. So I'll show some examples. So you can use this comparison operator to check anything. So if you want to check whether 7 equal to 8, so it will return either true or false. That's why it's called Boolean data type. So if you want to check whether 8 greater than or equal to 34, so it is false. So if you want to check 8, 7 not equal to 7, it is false. So 7 is equal to 7. So it can either return only true and false. So these are some of the examples that I have shown. So these are the comparison operators, and you can also check two characters also. We can check whether B is less than H, so it will return true. So we'll come to if statement, if else statement. So it is also called a two-way selection statement because it takes two courses of action. If the condition is true, it will take it will execute the if part, and if the condition is false, it will execute the else part. That's why it is called two-way selection statement. Okay, we will see an example. This is I have already typed the program. I will show that example. So this is an example. We have to import the smart function. So this is actually we'll be giving an input area of a circle, and the program will find out the radius of the circle. So this is the program to find that thing. So what you have to do is you have to import the smart function, math module. Then you have to input area. So we'll be entering the area. Then this is a if statement. If area is greater than 0. If the area is less than 0, then it is an invalid area. So if the area is greater than 0, what you have to do is you have to calculate the radius. Radius equal to, we have already seen this type function, square root function. You have to find out math dot square root of area by math dot pi. So then we have to print the radius of that circle. This gives a radius, this gives a radius thing, and we have to print that radius. Else, if the area entered is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, then print error, the area must be a positive number. So this is the program. You can simply run this program. If you run this program, you can enter any area, 60, any floating point numbers can be entered, and the radius is, it will return the radius. Okay. So this is known as two-way selection statement. So we have, it can take two courses of action. If it is true, then it has to execute all these statements, else it has to execute these statements. So the only thing you have to note is all the statements, if the, like in the case of for loop, all the statements should be indented at the same look, same column. So these two statements should come under this if statement. So it is indented at the same position. So else part we have only one statement. Okay. So this is a syntax of if else statement. If we give some condition colon, there should be a colon here. Then there will be a sequence of statements which are indented at the same location or at the same position. Or else part we can execute any number of statements. So if you draw the flow chart, it will look like this. Some statement, if there is some condition, if it is true, it will execute this set of sequence of statements, and if it is false, it has to execute some other set of statements. So this is the syntax of if else statement. Okay. So this is the general syntax. So if it will for one condition, if the condition is true, it will execute this set of statements, first set of statements, and if it is else, it will execute this set of statements. So this is why it is known as two-way selection statement. Two-way selection statement. Okay. We will see one more example. So we will see one more example. In this program, what we have to do, we are entering two numbers and we will be finding which is maximum and which is minimum. So first we have to enter the first number. We have already seen this statement. First in the input, enter the first number. Then second, in the second statement, we are entering the second number. Then we have to check for using if else statement. If first greater than second, then maximum will be equal to first. So we are assigning the first value to maximum, and if first less than second, so and minimum, we are assigning second to minimum. Else, if first greater than second, then what you have to do? Maximum will be maximum will be second and minimum will be first. Then we are printing this maximum is and minimum is. So we are printing those values. We can simply run this program. You can see check for the output. You have to give some integer. So you enter the first number. I am entering as 67 and the second number as 90. So maximum is 90 and minimum is 67 will be printed. Okay. But in Python, we need not use this if else statement to find out maximum and minimum. We have a max function and min function in Python. We can directly find the maximum and minimum values. So this is the same program. We are entering first and second. Then we are using the max function. So max function will take the maximum of all the values of all the arguments that are supplied. If you have more than one, two numbers, we can supply all those numbers and it will take the maximum of all these values. So if you are supplying to first two numbers, it will return the maximum of that number. Then there is another min function is there, which finds the minimum of all the numbers. Then we can, so this is the same program. You can compile it, you can interpret. So you can get the maximum minimum value. This is the same program. Okay. So this is two-way selection statement. Then there is one-way selection statement also. In one-way selection statement, the if part will not be there. So this is called if one-way selection statement. So we have if condition will be there and set of sequence statements will be there. The else part won't be there. Then it is known as one-way selection statement. So what happens is if the condition is true, it will execute the set of statements, and if the condition is false, it will execute the statement after this if statement. After this if statement, there may be several other statements. All those statements will be automatically executed. So if there is no else part, if the condition is false, it will go to the next set of statements. That is why. So here it will for the condition. If it's true, it will execute this sequence of statements. If it is false, it will execute the statements after this sequence of statements. So this is known as one-way selection statement. one-way selection statement. Then we have multi-way if statements also. Multi-way if statements. So we have if we have to take more than two courses of action. So there might be cases where we have to take several courses of action. If condition is like this, we have to execute this set of statement. Else, we have to execute some other statement. Else, if it is some other condition, it has to execute some other statement. Like that, there may be several courses of action. In that case, so what we have to do is we have to use multi-way statement. So if we have to test several conditions, we have more than two alternative courses of action. We have to take this multi-way if statement. So this is an example. Here we are giving grades. So all A grade is given to marks above 89. For B grade is given between 79 and below 90. C is given to above 69 and below 80. And D is given to all grades below 70. If we have something like this, we can we have to check all these conditions. So there are different courses of action or more than two alternative courses of action. In this case, we have to use multi-way if statement. I will show this example program. So we are entering marks, enter the marks. If marks greater than 89, then grade is given as A. Then here instead of else, it is L if. We have to check another condition. So it is given as L if. Else if meaning is else if L if marks greater than 79, then grade equal to B. L if mark greater than 16, grade equal to C. Or if all the conditions are false, then we have to assign a grade F. So then finally the grade is printed. So in this way, this is multi-way if statement, multi-way if statement. So we are taking different conditions. We are taking first condition, and if it is false, then it will go for this second condition. If it is false, then it will go for this third condition. Or if all the conditions are false, then it will execute this else part. And after that, it will print the statement. We can run this program. So you can enter any marks. So if you are entering 79 marks, the grade is C. Okay. So this is a multi-way if statement, else if statement. So this is a syntax of multi-way if statement. If condition 1 is true, then this set of sequence of statements will be executed. L if another condition is there, this set of statements will be executed. We can include any number of else statements, and finally there will be an else statement. Default some sequence of statements will be there. It can be executed. So this is a syntax of multi-way if statement. So if we have to check more than two conditions, we have to use this multi-way if statement. So next topic is logical operators and compound Boolean expressions. So we have the programs we have seen here have only one condition statement, one condition that is to be checked, whether we have to check whether marks greater than 79 or something like that. But there are certain cases when we have to check for more than one condition. We have to check for more than one condition. We will take one example. So we are entering some marks here. So we have to first check whether the entered marks is between the range 0 to 100, because all the marks should be between 0 to 100. So people should not enter marks 102, or negative marks should not be entered. So in this case, we have to check whether the marks entered is greater than 0 or the marks entered less than 0. If we have entered this wrong marks, we have to give that error grade must be between 100 and 0. So if we see this condition, both these conditions, number greater than 100 and number less than 0, both these conditions should say print the same error. So these conditions can be combined. These conditions can be combined. Okay. So these conditions can be combined. So one way to combine is if number greater than 0 or number less than 0. So this is the logical operator, or is the logical operator we use. So we have this comparison operator, number greater than 100, and number. We have two conditions, two comparison operators. We need to combine it. If the number greater than 100 or number less than 0, then we have to print the same error. Else, we can do the computations. This, if we have to check for A grade, B grade, all these things can be computed in the else part. So in this way, we can combine those two conditions. So we have used an OR operator. So this OR operator is known as a logical operator. Or we can use another same program. We can write in some other manner like this. If number greater than or equal to 0 and number less than or equal to 0, that means it is a valid mark. So it's a valid mark. So we have used another logical operator and here. So if number greater than or equal to 0 and number less than or equal to 0, then it is valid. So we can compute and compute the grades here. Or else we can print the error must be between 100 and 0. So both way we can write. So what we have done is we have combined these two comparison operators using logical operator, logical OR and logical AND operator. So we have three different logical operators in Python: AND, OR, and NOT. So this is a truth table of AND. So here and A and B denotes any expression. A and B can be any expression like number greater than 0. A can be number greater than 0 or B can be number less than 0, like that. It can be any type of expressions. So here A and B denote expressions. So this is a truth table of AND operator. So in the case of AND, both the conditions should be true. A and B should be true, then the result will be true. Otherwise, it is false. If any of the conditions are false, then the result will be false. So in the case of AND operator, the truth table is both the things, both the expressions should be true. Both the expressions should be true, then the final result will be true. If one of the thing is false, then the result will be false. So this is the truth table of and this is the truth table of OR. So in the case of OR, any one of the operation or one of the expression should be true. If either A or B is true, then the result is true. So if we check here, if both are false, then it is false. So if both are true, it is true. If any of the expression is true, then also it is true. So A or B means if both are false, then it is false. Otherwise, it is all are true. Then there is another logical operator. It is not operator. It will take the inverse of it. If we have an expression A and if we are giving not A, it means if the expression is true, the result will be false. If the expression is false, then the result will be true. So this is not operator. So we have three different operators in three different logical operators in Python. If you want, we'll see some example. So here we can simply give some value like A equal to true and B equal to false. So we have given let A and B be two expressions. We are assigning two values and we can A and B. So it will be false because since if anyone is false, then automatically the result will be false. Or you can for A or B. So it will be true because one is true. A is true, so the expression will be the result will be true. And if you want to check not of B, it can be checked also. So B is false. When we take not of B, not B, it will be okay. So these are the logical operators that I use. So you remember that A and B are expressions. So A and B can be any expression. So if you have to combine more than two or three conditional operations. What we have to do is conditional operators. We have to take this and or and not. Then we have already seen this operator precedence. Operator precedence rules. We have already seen this. So we have already seen which is. So I have to show. I wanted to show where this logical operator comes here. So logical operator comes here. So it is above assignment and or, and logical not is above and or. And after doing all these operations, we have to go for this comparison operator. So sorry, after combining, we have to go for this. So this is a precedence operator. This not we have already seen this thing. So comparison should be done. After that only we have to do not operation, and after that we have to go for and or operation. Okay. So this is operator precedence. Then another thing to note in Python is about short circuit evaluation. So in Python, it is possible, there's a method called short circuit evaluation. So if you have A and B, if you have an expression, if you have an operation A and B are two expressions. If A is false, then so is the expression. If any, you know that if it is an AND operator, logical AND operator, if any one of this is false, then automatically the whole result will be false. So if we can evaluate, so we have already seen the logical precedence in the in the operator precedence. In the operator precedence, we have already seen that this A expression, if it is a comparison operator, this A expression will be evaluated first. So if we know A is false, then the expression is automatically false. Then there is no need to evaluate this B. So this is known as short circuit evaluation. So if A is false, then it will stop its execution. It will not evaluate B because the result is false itself. Similarly for A or B, if A is true, then automatically we should not look for B. Whatever whether B is true or false, automatically the expression will be true. So if there is an operation like this A or B, and if we find that A is true, then so is the expression. So no need to evaluate B. This is known as short circuit evaluation. Python will not evaluate the second expression. Python will not evaluate the second expression. Okay. So this is needed because in certain cases, so we will see an example for that short circuit example. So we have entered a count, enter the count. Then we have asked to enter a sum, enter the sum. Now what we are doing is if count greater than 0 and sum divided by count greater than 10, print average, and else we have to print this thing. So here short circuit evaluation is necessary because imagine that we are entering some zero value for count. What happens? See, if count greater than zero, if there is no short circuit evaluation, what happens is it will execute this part also. Some quotient of count. That is, there will be a division by zero. Division, sum divided by zero will occur. So that will be make an error there. So in order to avoid that, there is a short circuit operation is there. If we give count as zero, if count greater than zero, it is false. So it won't go to the and part. It won't go here. It will go to the else part. So that is known as short circuit evaluation. Then how to test this selection statements? So we have to check whether the selection statements are right. Whatever we have typed is correct or not. There may be various logical errors that can occur in our program. So what are the rules that we follow? So first rule is make sure that all possible branches or alternatives in a selection statement are exercised. So we have to make sure that all the branches or alternatives in a selection statement are evaluated or exercised. Then we have to examine all of the conditions. We have to examine all of the conditions. If there are more than one condition by AND operator or operator we are using, we have to check whether all the conditions are true or false. So we have to give different values to check whether all the conditions are evaluated at least once. Then we have to test conditions that contain compound Boolean expressions also. If there are different compound Boolean expressions and operation or everything is there, then we have to evaluate or we have to give test all those conditions. All those compound Boolean expressions also should be. So if we take all these conditions, then automatically the statements will be true or the whole script will be true. Okay. So that's all. We have some three or four exercises. I have given three exercises here. These are some simple exercises. So we have to write a loop that counts the number of space characters in a string. Uh, Recall that the space character is represented as colon, a symbol white space. Assume that the variables in the second program, assume that the variables x and y refer to strings. Write a code segment that prints these strings in alphabetical order. Then here the variables x and y refer to numbers. Write a code segment that prompts the user for an arithmetic operator and prints the value of prints a value obtained by applying that operator to x and y. So you have to enter two variables, two numbers, and code should ask to enter some operator plus subtraction minus or anything. If it is plus, you have to submit. Like it's an automatic small calculator your program you have to do for this thing. So you can try these exercises. So this is the reference book. Thank you.